So quantitative data analysis happens to be in the fourth chapter of our research. It involves us applying the statistical methods to describe, to infer conclusions collected from our data that was collected. So the goal is basically to identify the patterns, the relationships, the trends, and also to either support or to refute the research hypothesis. So we're going to look at what is called descriptive statistics, inferential statistics, and also how to use SPSS for data analysis and other best practices in report research findings. So to start with, descriptive statistics. We will recall from our quantitative methods class or our QM, where we learned how to find the mean, the standard deviation, the range, and how to interpret these. So descriptive statistics is basically used to summarize data to make it more understandable. So these statistics do not infer any conclusions, but they just provide insights into some basic patterns and distributions. So we have what we call measures of central tendency. We have measures of dispersion. So under measures of central tendency, we have what we call the sum, which is the mean, which is the sum of all values divided by the observations. The median, which is a middle data set when we arrange either in ascending or descending order. We also have the mode, which is the most frequent occurring value. Then we also have measures of dispersion, which include the range. So this looks at the difference between the highest and the lowest values. The variance basically looks at how the value or data set is dispersed, how the spread is. The standard deviation is the square root of the variance. So all these are found in our data analysis. So data analysis also will look at data distribution. In our data distribution, we'll be looking at information that either has a normal distribution or it is skewed. So if your distribution is normally distributed like this, it means that the data set that you have, for instance, has equal number of males and females, 50-50. So normal distribution basically looks at the asymmetry of the data, where data sets are clustered around the mean. So we also look at the skewness, which describes the asymmetry. So if you have your data set that has more males, it is skewed to the right. If you have data set that has more females, it is skewed to the left. So all this in research will be important now to interpret from our level 1 quantitative methods. The kurtosis looks at the peakness, the height. So we'll look at how to interpret data in terms of the kurtosis. So if you have a high peak, we have a normal peak, and we have a flat peak. So these are all distributions under descriptive statistics. So we also must understand some basic information on inferential statistics, where we'll be, as researchers, required to make predictions of or generalizations about the population. So there'll be a testing of a hypothesis that will be happening. So when you have a null hypothesis, we assume that there is no difference in the variables. And there's an alternative hypothesis. It means there is a significant change or relationship that is existing. So you also make mention of confidence intervals. A confidence interval is simply a range within which the true proportion parameter must lie. Usually we use 95%, meaning there is a 95% chance that the true value lies within the interval. So in research under defense, there are questions that your colleagues were being asked to say, if you use a hypothesis, what confidence levels were you using? How sure are we that your parameters lie within the stated or stipulated intervals? So we will also make use of statistical tests in chapter 4. These statistical tests will include the t-tests, the ANOVA, the correlations, for those of you who will be doing quantitative research. So the t-tests or the independent t-tests will be used to compare if you're dealing with two independent groups. For instance, you're dealing with 10 pupils from two schools each. So you're going to use an independent t-test. So these t-tests were going to be used to measure whether there's a difference in the means from the two groups. Then we also have a paired t-test, which is used to compare um, means that lie within the same group before and after an intervention. Any questions so far?
Are you showing chapter 4 notes, or I'm still looking at chapter 3 notes? I don't know if you have changed the screen.
What's your question?
Well, my screen was still showing chapter 3 notes. It has changed now.
Oh, okay. Was that the same for everyone else?
Yes.
But why didn't you mention? So I was talking to myself all this while. So I need to redo what I was talking about. Sorry. Should be mentioning if you can't see my screen. Now you'll be forced to start re-explaining what I was re-explaining. Because it won't make sense.